الله أكبر
حي على الصلاة
الله أكبر الله أكبر
حي على الصلاة
الله أكبر الله أكبر
حي على الصلاة.
Arise, giving all praise to Allah, the Father of the universe, cherisher, sustainer of all the balanced universes. I extend the highest of honors to his holy divine prophet, Prophet Noble Drew, founder of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Islam? Extending high honors to his forerunner, the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey, the founder of the Universal Negro Movement Association, who did indeed mourn and stir up the nations. Islam? Extending high honors to the Moorish flag, the red flag, the 5-pointed green star in the center. These 5 points represent love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. These are the 5 highest principles known to man. Islam? Extending honors to the American flag, also known as the Stars and Stripes. This flag exists as a constant reminder that European nations owe you the Moors of compound interest. Islam? This is also the flag of our birth. Islam? All right? Extending honors to the Noble Sheik staff, the Vanguard staff, and keep the peace. Giving honors to you, the hills and bays, for without you there is no Moorish movement. Islam? I'd like to extend further honors to our brother, Sheik Charles Brownell, to number 27, bless us with his presence. Praise Allah. I'd also like to extend honors to my mother and father. Islam?
Praise Allah.
Praise Allah. Praise Allah. Tonight, I'm not going to burden the Moors. I just have a few words for you. I'd like to speak on brotherhood and Islamism. Islam?
Islam.
Brotherhood is a very important thing. Brotherhood is something that we often take for granted. Under the auspices of Negro, Black, and Color, we found ourselves in a world alone. That's what we thought. We didn't have the principles that governed our interactions with one another. Right? There was never a code that was instilled, and if there was a code, the code was indeed based on a carnal ideal. Islam? All right. I'd like to draw from chapter 25, Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Asiatic Covenant, Holy Covenant of Asiatic Nations. See what the Prophet Noble Drew gave us as a code, since he returned everything else to the Moorish American people. Let's read about our own code. Islam, we there. Islam, praise Allah. Chapter 25, A Holy Covenant of the Asiatic Nations. We'll just recite this together. Instruction 1. Ye are the children of one father, provided for by his care, and the breast of one mother has given you suck. Let the bonds of affection therefore unite thee with thy brothers, that peace and happiness may dwell in our Father's house. And when you separate the world, remember the relation that bindeth you to love and unity, and prefer not a stranger before thine own blood. If thy brother is in adversity, assist him. If thy sister is in trouble, forsake her not. So shall the fortunes of thy father contribute to the support of his whole race, and his care be continued to you all, and your love to each other. Islam or
Islam.
This is a beautiful invocation right here.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely beautiful. Because it's calling from an ancient gospel. It's calling from an everlasting gospel, which we know, is that which comes from Allah through our ancient fathers by his holy prophet. Islam?
Islam.
All right? Now, the key things, if I could just go to, of course, I'll just go, verse by verse. I don't want to miss anything. It says, ye are the children of one father, provided for by his care, and the breast of one mother have given you suck. We're some of the only people that walk the planet and have an innate understanding that we are each other's brother and sister. We might not be able to articulate it, but it's not an odd thing that if you call a brother, what's going on, my brother, you wouldn't really reject that up front unless he's been through some serious damage. You know what I'm saying? By and large, we accept that. What's going on, bro? Or at least give the nod, if nothing else.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? How you doing, my sister? And she would receive that in return, right? So even on a subconscious, on a genetic level, we're aware of how Allah gave us to one another, right? But again, with the tampering of mankind, we find ourselves without the things that we're supposed to have, right? And the breast of one mother has given you suck. The sustenance that's come from our ancient mothers, is a powerful thing. The Prophet once said, have a deeper appreciation for womanhood, And this is indeed, it's all women in general, right? But specifically the woman that has, not been given to the nations. A sister that strived beyond all to become her highest self. Islam?
Islam.
Because it would be an honor, to rush to open the door for that sister. It would be an honor to, make sure as the Grand Sheik, Sister Saifa was, putting out the chairs that you all are sitting in today. Well, look, he was like, oh, Mobile's up. You need some help with that? My friend, let me do that. I had no business sitting around while you were doing that. It humbled me, you know what I'm saying, to see the brother just, once because, he was doing something else. And when he looked, he jumped to it, because he, again, honoring, the sister and the sacrifice.
Islam.
Islam was? So, Grand Sheik, thank you for that one.
Islam.
Praise Allah. Praise Allah. Let the bonds of affection, therefore, unite thee with thy brothers. Which is right on the topic of brotherhood. As Moorish American Muslims, we shouldn't allow anything to come between us. Whether that's ideology, finance, anything. Anything that's your property should be sacred from my touch.
That's right.
Islam. You should be able to, if your wife, your sister, woman, whoever, we prefer wives, because we get obligated to divorce now. It's the Temple of America. But even if your sister, woman, if you bring her to the temple,
She's safe.
she's very safe. You know what I'm saying? I won't even, I'll look at it to greet her, but that's all.
Right. That's right.
Islam?
Lower your gaze.
Absolutely. Lower your gaze, because the lowering the gaze is a protection for your own soul. And in the broader Islamic world, they have a tendency to look at that and say, the lowering of the gaze is only for the woman. That's for the man too.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? To protect you from your desires. Right? But again, unite thee with our brothers. That peace and happiness might dwell in our Father's house. In the Moorish Science of America, this is an example for us in all of our dealings. We come here to practice what it is to be a civilized people, right? And to go back into the word to be civilized others. So we get our practice on here, and wherever we go, we make that an extension of our Father's house. Islam? What is the jurisdiction of the Moorish Science of America? The Prophet said on your jobs, homes, and on the public streets. In all areas of human endeavorment, you're supposed to carry these lessons, these principles, these virtues with you and conduct yourself accordingly. Islam? And always honor your brother to make sure you have your brother and sisters back. And to drive that home, instruction 3 says, when you separate in the world, remember the relation that bindeth you to love and unity. And this is the key of being bound to something. Social media is a gift and a curse. I've scrolled through Facebook sometimes, and I'll see ones that refer to themselves as Moors, and they'll have fezzes on. They might be cursing, using profanity, and all this type of stuff. These are things that the Prophet restricted us from. You know what I'm saying? Like the Prophet said, we're not to use profanity in the mildest of forms. You know what I'm saying? So even in the mildest form, something that we might not look at profanity might actually be profanity. When you're outside the Moorish Science Temple of America, you're referring to your people as Negroes, blacks, and coloreds. That's profanity. Islam?
Islam.
Moorish Americans should never use the N-word. I'm using that. You need to keep it clean on the holy day, right? We should never use that because, again, I don't care how mad you get, that person's still Moorish American. They might not know it. That person has a decent nature. That person has the same forefathers and foremothers that you have. Islam?
Islam.
That person has the same spirit of Allah, the divine Allah that's inside him, that's in you, right? And we having these lessons, we're to be the ones that forever in that mind state to remember that, never lose sight of that. Islam?
Islam.
So to be a Moorish American, a proclaimed Moorish American Muslim, and to conduct yourself as though you never came across the Prophet is folly at its height. Islam was?
Islam.
Right? Which also too, I want to come back on the conversation that Grand Sheik and I were having earlier, which is why, in the Moorish Science Temple of America, we don't suggest, Moorish Americans just go out and just, as an example, just go and buy your own fez and put it on.
No, sir.
Because in that mode of action and that mode of carrying that out, it bears the same significance as a fitted cap. You might as well have a New York Yankee cap on. You'll treat it the same. You know what I'm saying? When you look through, the proper way of receiving, this fast headdress, or even a turban for the sisters, it means something to you.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? It's a presence of mind that you're in when you have it on, which is actually practiced for when you don't have it on. Islam?
Islam.
Even if you don't have your fez on, always have your fez on. Islam?
Islam.
All right? So get it the right way. Anything, we know this with raising children. Anything that they earn, they treat well.
That's right.
Anything you give them, they're going to tear up.
That's right.
Islam? Right. Says if thy brother is in adversity, parts, I'll go back to 3. When you separate the world, remember the relation that bindeth you to love and unity. You can join those two, love and unity. And prefer not a stranger before thine own blood. Earlier today, I had an Asiatic couple in the barbershop. And the brother, he was very conscious of cooperative economics. So he asked his lady friend, he says, well, where are we going when we, to eat when we leave here? And she was naming like, Koreans, Chinese, and this and whatever. He's like, well, what about, and I'm using the term Asiatic because obviously he's using the term black. Well, how about an Asiatic, establishment or whatever? And she was giving every excuse as to why not to support. You understand what I'm saying? But see, these are principles that we have to teach our babies from little, as soon as they can stand, all the way up, right? Because again, Dick Gregory once said, if you're spending money with somebody, he said, when you go to put the dollar in their hand, if their eyes don't look like yours, withhold your dollar, right? And I don't mean the shape of the eye or the color, but the spirit that's behind the eye. If this is not your kindred, if this is not going to empower your people to place this dollar in their hands, don't spend it. And if it's a matter of, okay, well, there's not enough Asiatic-owned or Moorish American-owned restaurants for us to go eat out at, well, we withhold the dollar, we go shopping and we cook at home. And we keep that extra money that we would spend in the restaurant, right? But there's a code with our economic spending, right? So the nationality, is really all-encompassing. That's your economics, that's your political side, that's everything. Islam?
Islam.
Right? It says, prefer not a stranger before my own blood. I gotta hit that again, because that's, again, a lot of times we have a tendency to be more loyal to those that are not our own kindred and pedigree than our own. So we should look into that and correct it. Instruction 4, if thy brother is in adversity, assist him. If thy sister is in trouble, forsake her not. It's not optional, right? If your kindred is in trouble, you have to find a way to assist them. Period. Islam?
Islam.
We don't like to get those calls, but we get a call that a brother is, roaming and mess around and got a brother. We do whatever we can to get the brother out, right? We might burn his head up afterwards, right? But we do our best to get him out because we know that's no condition for anyone to be in. Islam?
Islam.
But if you wanted the Prophet Noble Drew Ali's Moors, you don't really have that much running with them.
That's right. You shouldn't.
Sure. How do you follow these instructions?
You shouldn't.
You follow this right here. You ain't got no business handing out each other. Islam?
Islam.
I haven't come across that with the Prophet's Moors. Ones who say they're Moorish Americans that don't know the Prophet, in and out all the time.
Right.
Okay. It says, so shall the fortunes of thy father contribute to the support of his whole race, and his care be continued to you all and your love to each other. Surely Allah speaks the truth to his holy divine prophet, Drew Ali. Islam.
Islam.
All right. So, again, we have to remember, even with that last instruction, that, Allah is the father of the universe. Islam, never has there been a time where we've been a secular people. It hasn't existed. And all the masters I've talked to, that showed me throughout the annals of history, I've never seen a period of time where we didn't acknowledge something higher that related to our own higher self. We were connected. We know time never was when man was not. Islam?
Islam.
All right? Drawing from Great Quran of Muhammad, I'd like to go to Surah 49, which means chapter 49. Ayat 10, starting there, just to drive home some points on brotherhood.
I apologize, I missed it.
49:10, Holy Quran, Great Quran of Mecca. Holy Quran of Muhammad. 49:10. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful. Ayat 10, it says, the faithful are but a single brotherhood. So make peace and reconciliation between your two contending brothers, and fear Allah that ye may receive mercy. It's a truly divine thing that when you see two brothers quarreling, to referee that and bring it to a peaceful resolution. It's a dangerous thing in the world when men argue, because men kill each other. We're not built to go back and forth verbally for a long time. At some point, something has to happen, right? And this is what our young brothers, in all of the things that we might impart to them, we don't impart conflict resolution.
Islam.
We don't impart to them, well, that's not worth that man's life. You know what I'm saying? We haven't imparted them, well, yeah, times are hard, but don't rob your cousin. Something I had to literally talk our young brother out of that came to the rush. He was just talking, he was like, just freely about it, like, yeah, I came up with the perfect lick, I'm gonna hit my cousin. Like, you gonna rob your huh? First of all, don't rob nobody, but you gonna rob your cousin? So, it's not that this matters, but I just want to know. Is this your daddy's people or your mama's people? It's my mama's people. You gonna rob your mama's people? That's something that's like ridiculous. I couldn't accept it. So I spent like 45 minutes talking to this young brother. But this is where, where he's at in his life and where a lot of our young people are, And, but it's a science to knowing how to solve beef or how to squash beef. You see what I'm saying? You have to be built for that, and you have to be guided in those principles. Everybody can't do that, And you want to be known, to be such a one that when things go on, if before somebody goes to do something bad, they can call you. I'm thinking about doing this right here. I don't know. And it really is like a plea.
That's all right.
Before I jump off this cliff, say something to me so I might consider not doing it.
Right.
You know what I mean? You want to be known as that in the community. You understand what I'm saying? Islam works?
Islam.
Right? Moving forward. Instruction 11. O you who have faith, let not some men among you laugh at others. It may be that the latter are better and that the former than the former. Nor let some women laugh at others. It may be that the latter are better than the former. Nor defame or be sarcastic to each other. Nor call each other by offensive nicknames, ill-seeming as a name connoting wickedness, to be used of one after he has believed. And those who do not desist indeed are doing wrong. Islam? So again, more bad habits that we learn in the world. You know what I'm saying? That if someone was a little different, to jest at them, to poke fun at them, stuff like that. But the crew that you do that with, when you leave them, they're doing the same to you. You understand what I'm saying? So Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, all the prophets, if you go through all the records, but all of them was trying to, call us back to a higher standard. You know what I'm saying? When we've gone off the path and gotten to a point where, it's kill or be killed, survival of the best. The stronger eats the weaker. Thus was saying, carnal plane rules. So all of these prophets are calling us to something greater. Islam works?
Islam.
All right. Ayat 12. It says, O ye who believe, avoid suspicion as much as possible, for suspicion in some cases is a sin. In some cases is a sin. And spy not on each other, nor speak ill of each other behind their backs. Would any of you like to eat the flesh of his dead brother? Nay, he would abhor it. But fear Allah, for Allah is often returning and most merciful. Islam works? All right? So again, that's the whole gospel piece. The Prophet wrote a whole record on that, Prophet Noble Ali, on tongues, right? And basically was saying that, to do your best to use your tongue for high purposes only, right? He said, man may hold almost any office if he'll only curb his tongue, right? And you'll find this with, with Asiatics that, the need to feel like we have to just be either the deepest person in the room or the loudest one in the room or whatever. But sometimes don't burden people with your personality. A lot of times just, let's just, it's like a give and take. Let's ebb and flow with conversation. So that way we can build a brother. We have to know, like in other words, if I'm doing something that's stressing out our relationship, I should be able to see it. But if I can't discover myself, bring it to my attention. Bring it to my attention. Don't go to nobody else. If I'm doing it, come to me about it so I can make the course correction.
Islam. That's right.
Islam? And this is the way of adult people. This is the way we should do, right? A couple more verses more. I'm not going to hold the floor tonight, right? Surah 3, Ayat 118, right? Again, thinking about the brotherhood, right? It says, O you who have faith, take not into your intimacy those outside your ranks. They will not fail to corrupt you. They only desire for you to suffer. Rank hatred has already appeared from their mouths. What their hearts conceal is far worse. We have made it plain to you the signs if you have wisdom. What does he mean by rank hatred? So you tell your friends earlier in the day, they ask you, what you doing tonight? I'm going out here to the Moorish Science Temple of America. I'm going to learn the truth about my nationality and birthrights, right? And they just start making, oh man, we going to this party, why don't you come? Whatever. Doing things to call you away from the divine purpose that you set out on, right? Now they'll, even if you give them the high purpose that you're the reason why you're going, they might let you off. But Allah says that what their hearts conceal is much worse, right? Because they want to keep you on that carnal level of not growing beyond what they're, comfortable with. Islam works? And that whole take not into the intimacy those outside your ranks, you'll find that, other nationalities around, around the planet, they stay around each other. They're comfortable around each other. They do business with other groups of people, right? But they vibe with each other, right? And they may allow you to come around them, for whatever purpose, but guarantee they got a collective eye on you because you're not one of them. Islam? Like again, example, if we as Moorish Americans in here and a European walked in, he could come and sit, right? But we're going to be, I know, I don't know about y'all, I'm going to be watching Islam,
Islam.
because he's not one of us. And I don't know if he shared, matter of fact, he doesn't share the same principles as we do. Islam?
Islam.
All right? So, that's something to keep your eye on. And then again, like the earlier verses said, about suspicion, not in all cases is suspicion lawful, but in some cases it's okay to have a healthy paranoia about a particular thing. Let me keep my eye on this shit to make sure. Islam?
Islam.
Right? It says, ayat 119, do 2 more ayats from here, and 1 more reading, and then we go open the floor for questions. If not, we'll lower the meeting. Ayat 119. Ye are those who love them, but they love you not. Though you believe in the whole of the book, when they meet you, they say, we believe, but when they are alone, they bite off the very tips of their fingers at you in their rage. Say, perish in your rage. Allah knoweth well all the secrets of your heart. Islam, Morris?
Islam.
Right? Your happiness is not everybody's happiness. Right? The fact that we're working towards doing something positive for our people, there's some of our people that want to stop that. Right? That's the reality of it. Using the movie reference, in the movie The Matrix, they said that anybody that has not been unplugged is a potential agent. Islam? And this is what we're dealing with our people. When something savage comes out of our people, it's the programming. Right? It's the program. It's a lifetime of programming, fighting against what they consider in terms of something new.
Islam.
But it's not necessarily new, but they don't recognize something that's, the reason why you don't recognize Islam because it's yours. Islam, Morris? All right? In ayat 120, it says, if aught that is good befalls you, it grieves them. But if some misfortune overtakes you, they rejoice at it. But if you are patient and do right, not the least harm will their cunning do to you. For Allah compasseth round about all that they do. Islam? All right, so again, Allah being the father of the universe, a universe is not necessarily stars and quasars. A universe can be any particular realm of activity. So, in anything that we're involved in, Allah is the father that's governing that, right? And there are rules that govern that interaction, right? If we don't honor, the principles and the rules that govern that, that's when, says the slavery comes. Through sin and disobedience, every nation has suffered slavery. Islam, or?
Islam.
Right? I'm going to draw from one more thing just to show you, because it's, we say, the everlasting gospel comes from Allah through our ancient fathers. So let's just draw on how our ancient fathers taught, right? In the time of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, there was one of his successors named Umar, right?
Right.
It says, this is entitled, The Way of Sufi Chivalry. S-U-F-I, Chivalry, C-H-I-V-A-L-R-Y, Chivalry. And it's by Ibn al-Hussein, Ibn Abi-N, that's what al-Hussein, A-L-H-U-S-A-Y-N, al-Sulami, A-L-S-U-L-A-M-I. On page 9, they give a particular story that was related. It says, one day during the Caliphate of Hazrat Umar, while he was sitting with his companions, 3 noble young men entered his presence. 2 of them said, we 2 were brothers. While our father was working in his field, he was killed by this young man, whom we have brought to you for justice. Punish him according to Allah's book. The Caliph turned to the 3rd young man and asked him to speak. Although, quote, and this is the young man says, although there were no witnesses, Allah, the ever-present, knows they are telling the truth, said the accused. I regret very much that their father found death at my hands. I am a villager. I arrived at Medina this morning to visit the tomb of our prophet. May Allah commend and salute him. At the outskirts of the city, I got off my horse to take ablution, so he's about to make prayer, wash himself with water, keep his body clean with water. It says, my horse started eating from the branch of a date tree that was hanging over a wall. As soon as I noticed this, I pulled my horse away from the branch. At that moment, an angry old man approached with a big stone in his hand. He threw the stone at my horse's head, killing it instantly. Since I loved the horse very much, I lost control of myself. I picked up the stone and threw it back at the man. He fell dead. If I had wanted to escape, I could have done so, but to where? If I do not meet my punishment here, I shall meet an eternal punishment in the hereafter. I had not intended to kill this man, but he died at my hand. Now the judgment is yours. The Caliph said, you have committed murder. According to Islamic law, you must receive treatment equal to that which you have dispensed. Although this was a pronouncement of death, The young man kept his composure and calmly said, "So be it. However, a fortune has been left in my care to be given to an orphan when he comes of age. I buried this fortune for safekeeping. Nobody knows where it is but me. I must dig it up and leave it in someone else's care. Otherwise, the orphan will be denied his right. Give me 3 days to go to my village and attend to this duty." Umar replied, "Your request cannot be accorded unless somebody else takes your place and vouches for your life." "O ruler of the faithful," said the young man, "I could have escaped before if I had wished. My heart is filled with fear of Allah. Be certain I will be back." The caliph refused on the basis of the law. The young man looked at the noble companions of the Prophet who were gathered around the caliph. Choosing at random, he pointed at Abu Dar al-Ghifari and said, that's one of the companions of the Prophet, and said, "This man will be the one to vouch for me." Abu Dar was one of the most beloved and respected companions of the Prophet. Without hesitation, he agreed to replace the young man. The accused was released. On the third day, the 2 young accusers came back to the caliph's court. Abu Dar was there, but not the accused. The accuser said, "O Abu Dar, you have vouched for someone that you did not know. Even if he does not return, we will not leave without receiving the price of our father's blood." The caliph said, "Indeed, if the young man does not return, we will have to apply his punishment to Abu Dar." Hearing this, everyone began to weep for Abu Dar, a man of perfect virtue and splendid character, was the light and inspiration for all of Medina. When the third day had come to an end, the excitement, sorrow, and amazement of the people reached their peak. Suddenly, the young man appeared. He had been running and was tired, dusty, and hot. "I am sorry to have worried you," he said breathlessly. "Pardon me for arriving at the last minute. There was much work to be done. The desert is hot and the trip was long. I am now ready. Execute my punishment." Then he turned to the crowd and said, "The man of faith is loyal to his word. The one who fails to keep his word is a hypocrite. Who can escape death, which comes sooner or later anyway? Did you think that I was going to disappear and make the people say, the Muslims do not keep their word anymore?" The crowd then turned to Abu Dar and asked whether he had known of the young man's fine character. He answered, "Not at all, but I did not feel that I could refuse him when he singled me out, as it would not have been in keeping with the laws of generosity. Should I be the one to make the people say that there is no more kindness left in Islam?" The hearts of the accusers trembled and they dropped their claims, saying, "Should we be the ones that make the people say that there is no more compassion left in Islam?" Islam wants?
Islam.
So again, a lot of times, we have to remember, when we're claiming to be Moorish, we're claiming the ethnicity of our forefathers, the pedigree nature or descent nature of our forefathers. In 2019, that's just a word to us. A lot of times we're not connected to what that really means. But when you go back and you read the history of how your forefathers moved, it said that the ancient Moor would have considered to have his head removed rather than break his word. That's how your forefathers moved the earth. That's why throughout the annals of history, the hand press is one of those emblems. If I put my hand in your hand, all is well. I bond my life with that. That's what that's supposed to mean. Islam, so this, proclaiming of nationality that's mentioned in Act 6 is no plaything. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to the cause of Moorish, everything stops. We make that happen. Because if that's, which it is, like the Prophet said, the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation as American citizens, that's a very absolute statement. That means that without that, we have nothing. That means without that, our babies have no salvation. That means without that, our babies have no infrastructure. We won't, as men, be able to hold our families together. If we were, we would have been done it by now, before the Prophet, but we weren't. While we were sent a prophet, we brought us instructions for man and wife and for children, so we can keep our unions together and remember the love and the unity and be bound to it. Islam?
Islam.
I use the example all the time. If you ever had handcuffs on before, which I have, when you have them on, you have restricted movement. You're bound. Islam, you can only move within that particular range of motion, right? In this Moorish Science Temple of America, you are bound. You have restricted range of motion. So what, you're mad? Don't mean nothing. Get over it. You're mad, but you can't stay mad forever. So what, somebody did this to you. It's reconciliation to deal with that.
That's right.
We have laws that govern all of this stuff. You never fall to your passion to deal with something. Islam wars?
Islam.
And this is the main thing that's going to keep our brotherhoods and our sisters together. So again, we have to have that together, because I know it came across the floor earlier about going into the communities, but we don't want to bring our people into a situation that is worse than or equivalent to what they're already going to.
That's right.
If we can't bring them into a better situation, leave them alone. I know it sounds bad, because we want to wake our people up. We want better for them, right? But again, it says, if you can't feed the people, you can't lead the people. Islam? You think our people want to be loyal to the European? Of course not. You got people, right now, you got people still going to work even though they're not getting paychecks. They haven't quit. They still going. That's the mentality, Morris, right? And I understand people are bound by their circumstances, bound by their situations, but that's a lot of belief, in a particular system, if I can use that without sounding radical. That's a lot of belief in the system that at the end of that, you're going to get your money. Because ain't no real promises that you're going to get that, right? Because from what I saw, with the Brother Raphael sent out some information earlier, it said, they're like 35 days with no check, with no end in sight. So, with you going each day to that, they haven't promised you an end to that. You understand what I'm saying? But our people, because of what's been forced on us, we believe that, they're not going to let us go that long without getting a paycheck. You think not? Ask the people back in the 30s what happened to their money when the banks closed up. My uncle, well, he was my great uncle, I suppose. He's my grandfather's brother.
Great uncle.
He was a great uncle. He was a longshoreman. So he was always gone, but he made a lot of money for that damn time. And when he passed form, they were moving some stuff around his house, and an argument amongst the children broke out like happens in Asiatic families. And one of the children threw the other one up against the wall, his arm went through the sheetrock. The arm went through the sheetrock, money fell out. So what they do, take crowbars and tore all the walls and everything. And Uncle Jimmy was putting money in the walls, right? And the reason why was because, again, he didn't trust banks because of how the Europeans had done them back in the 20s, 30s, and stuff like that. These things have happened, boys. You know what I mean? Sheik Heru Ranesi-El and I often say that when the prophet said the worst is yet to come, it's here. We're in it. So it's things you're going to see now that you, in your lifetime, probably have never seen before. You know what I mean? I think there was an oral statement that says something at one point, a $20 bill will fall on the floor, you'll just walk right over it. Because it ain't worth, by that point, it won't be worth nothing. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So we're coming to a day and time now that if we don't look to each other, we most shall surely be destroyed. Islam, and I promise you that. That's a fact. If we don't get it together, it has to get past my ears before yours. But if we don't pull this off and get in line with universal law, we will be destroyed. Because if that's the case, if we don't get it together, we become obsolete. Islam? And I'm not saying this to put a burden on you, Islam, because I do want to offer you some word of it, hope. I do like to leave hope in the message, right? But we have to be awakened to the time, what time it really is. Islam? The first word is in, when chapter 1 starts off, it's the word time. When we say time never was, whatever, that first word is time. And a lot of times we lose track or lose sync, with how important each passing moment is, and look back in within a 24-hour period and just ask yourself, how much did I accomplish in the cause of the prophet within this past 24 hours? And if you haven't, then you have more work to do. We all have work to do. This is why most sheiks stay up at odd hours of the night. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could generally hit us at 3, 4 in the morning, not saying do it unless it's an emergency, and we'll, render you a favor with reply, because we're up either trying to get a message for Allah or figure this thing out how we can do more when that sun rises the next day. Islam was?
Islam.
So that's what this movement is about. It's not a game, it's not a joke. We welcome all to it, but we know that our forefathers that have gone before us fought too long, too hard for us to drop the ball down. You know what I mean? And we honor all of our forefathers, all of our Moorish American forefathers, right? Who that if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have this record intact.
That's right.
Islam was, we wouldn't have intact. We wouldn't have. We're not supposed to have these things. With what was done to our movement, we weren't even supposed to know who the prophet was, right? But here we are in 2019, still invoking the name Prophet Sheik Heru Ranesi-El, still gathering on a holy day, still in Sunday school, still teaching our babies their lessons. Islam? And still working on our own quality and character, right? Which is the essence of our movement, right? It's not about being how deep, how much you can philosophize about. What's your character like, right? And what are you going to pass on to the ones that are behind you in terms of the spirit of character? Islam was? Right? Are there any questions, comments, concerns, or statements? Brother Jabbar, Islam was?
Islam. Arise, giving all praise to Father God Allah and highest honors to His Prophet Sheik Heru Ranesi-El.
Islam was?
Islam. I just wanted to make sure I got down the verses said in the Holy Quran, 49. Was it starting at 10 or?
Starting at 10 and going down to verse 12.
Okay.
And then other verses were chapter 3 or Surah 3, ayats 118 to 120.
Okay.
And again, remember those words, that word brotherhood applies to sisters as well.
Islam.
Same word in Arabic. Translates over different in English, but in Arabic it's the same understanding. Brother Akil, Islam what?
Islam, my rise, giving the most high praise to Allah,
Islam.
Father of the universe,
Yes, sir.
and the highest of honor to his noble and divine prophet, Israeli.
Islam.
I just wanted to note that the government shutdown had an extension, or if you will, they reached some type of a compromise for the next 30 days, and so there will be in session, but there will be no funding for any border wall, and other than that, they still do have a lot to meet about and to reach a form of agreement about.
Okay. I mean, and again, I watched the Department of Housing, interview, and they were talking about how Section 8 is done in February. Done. Thousands of people nationwide. You know what I'm saying? This is wintertime. Some areas of the country, like you talking like up north and all that, snow, blizzards, all types of stuff. These people gonna be homeless. With no apology, like, hey, how bad, you gotta get out. Mercy will be left up to those who have no mercy in them. We're in that now.
Yep.
Right? But the problem is, Morris, we should have never given the federal government that much power. In other words, we should have never had to have depended on them that much. You know what I'm saying? Like, you realize there's certain, groups in this country, racial groups, or ethnic groups, that are recession-proof. The Amish ain't worried about none of this. You didn't even laugh at that, right? They're not worried. They're like, oh, where's they shut down? Yeah, we still eat. We got thousands of acres. We're growing our own food. We have our own infrastructure. We're not worried. We're not worried about no benefits from the federal government. And I'm not saying that being radical, but at the same time, it's like, part of the slave mentality is depending on someone to do for you. Food, clothing, shelter, transportation, communication. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Always looking towards someone else. But with these lessons, there's no reasons why we shouldn't have those things ourselves. You know what I mean? And especially if you put, the forerunner's message with the prophet's message, Marcus Garvey and Israeli, put them together, there's no reason why you're not doing for something. You understand? So that's what these principles of, everything that's enshrined in all of our literature, that's what it's all about. At the end of it, like Brother Jabbar, I know in this room right now, it's at least one man that knows how to grow food. We might have to huddle behind this brother and sit at his feet. You know what I'm saying? I'm from New Jersey, he's from Baltimore, I don't think we know how to grow no food. I don't put that in your mouth, boy, you might be a master. But I seen this more, it's more, he took the chairman out, and they got the dirt together.
Praise Allah.
That's a holy gospel, more to know that whole process, and, to know that we ain't got to fear as long as we got these seeds. We don't eat. Islam? But if we depended on Kroger and Walmart and all that type of stuff, whatever. I was watching one documentary, and the brother was like, he was talking to a group of brothers, what are we going to do if they shut everything down out here? So, well, we're going to take over Kroger. It's okay, that sounds wise until you realize they only keep about 3 days worth of food in before they have to get a re-up. Right? And some family, I have a total of 7 children. You know what I'm saying? And with 2 grandparents, that's 9 kids that got to eat before me. Islam? So, Sheik Brownell, he tribe called Quest. He got his own tribe. So my tribe and his tribe show up, well, we're going to clean Kroger out.
Right.
Islam? So again, what are we going to do? Like, these are real questions. Like, we should have already been beyond this point. But again, we hard-headed, stiff-necked. So, Allah has to, give us these scenarios to make us realize what time it really is.
Yep.
Islam? Praise Allah for adversity. Without a foe, a soldier never knows his strength.
Come on, Mo.
Islam? Praise Allah, Moses. And with that, I lower the meeting. Islam?
Islam.
Islam?
Islam.
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 Morris Science Temple of America, Noble Drew Ali founder, Chicago, Illinois, March 11, 1929. A warning from the Prophet to be read in every meeting. I hereby inform all members that they must put an end to all radical and agitating speech while on their jobs, homes, or on the public streets. We advocate peace and not destruction. Stop trying out your cards with the Europeans, for it causes confusion. There has been much confusion caused by members trying out the cards. The cards are for your salvation. Failure of obeying my orders will be of severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom. When these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members that seek to hold malicious feelings towards the temple or the prophet, or to violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement, will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors must obey the laws laid down to them by their prophet, and if they lose confidence in their prophet, give up your card and button, cease wearing your turban or fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. For this is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet, Noble Drew Ali. And if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet is sending out a divine plea to all true Moorish Americans that they may do their part in protecting their prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. Peace. Noble Drew Ali. Islam?
Islam.
Islam?
Islam.
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 All praises are due to Allah and the highest of honors, to his holy divine prophet, Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Moors, in closing, I'd just like to say just, if you have the opportunity to meet and to know a Moorish American Muslim and the opportunity to call them your brother, like really cherish that relationship. Don't ever take that for granted. Because if for nothing else at a subconscious level, the Prophet's holy instructions are in that person's mental. Islam?
Islam.
So when it comes to it, they know what the law is and they'll know how to act. I don't know too many people that know the Prophet Noble Drew Ali that if you put the Prophet before them,
That's right, Mom.
will fall out of sight. Even if they the wildest of wildest, whatever, they could be in the street doing all types of whatever. If they love the Prophet more, you put the Prophet in front of them, Islam. I'm out of sight. Islam more. Correct.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And they'll open themselves up for correction, right? So that in and of itself is a beautiful mechanism, right? To have been placed in our people by our prophet, because without that, we are left to our own devices. You see what I'm saying? And more than anything, when we don't know who we are, we become very destructive. You see what I'm saying? Not just of ourselves, but of everything that's around us. Islam? I've seen Moors destroy whole families because they wasn't upset. There was an interesting interview I saw the other day. It was between James Baldwin and Nikki Giovanni. And they, it was wonderful because she was 28 at the time. He was in his 50s. And they were like in the, I guess this was done in maybe 71 or something like that. Maybe
Oh, yeah, I seen it.
You saw that one?
Yes, sir.
And it was powerful because she was explaining how.
If you love me, you can lie to me.
Exactly. And then she was like, how'd she say it? She said that,
You lie.
why do you have to be all that? You can be all that in the world. I understand you got to lie when you're around the Europeans and whatever. But when you're home, why do you have to basically be a tyrant in the home and treat me bad because you were treated bad out there? You know what I mean? And he was trying to explain, well, you don't understand, the only place that he can get to be a man is home. You know what I mean? But it's a mutated form of manhood because he feels as though by me, strong arming my family, that's me being a man, but it's not. But she was like, well, you upset because what? Because you can't provide? It's not real. I just need a man. He was like, you don't understand. He don't feel like he's a man unless he's providing. And it was just that exchange of ideas from two different genders, two different generations, try to get an understanding of what it is, of the work that we're called to do, without the instructions. And you get a chance to see the confusion in it. You know what I mean? And if I'm not mistaken, is Nikki Giovanni lesbian at this point?
I'm not even sure. Man.
I think she, I don't think she was able to sustain a good relationship with a man. I think she became a lesbian.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I know she speaks at a lot of lesbian events, whatever, but that doesn't mean anything. General opinion. But the point is that, we have these issues. You know what I mean? And the remedy was brought. Now whether we apply them or not is up to us. Islam Morris?
Islam.
With that?
Allahu Akbar.
حي على الصلاة
Allahu Akbar.